Hello everyone, it's your boy Calculon, and I'm back for an unexpected part 2 in the middle of my own video. You won't notice this, but this is day 2 of TinkerCAD. And today we're going to be creating our own custom 6-sided die within the program using the pre-made asset and the text tool. Let's get into it. I'm going to have them make a die. Well, specifically a die, not a cube. A cube looked like this because Magic Player. A cube would have square edges, and this dice that it has is a stock item. This one says robots. It has the rounded edges, so it rolls nice. So here's my finished die, and here's all the example problems. You can, by the way, delete these. I don't need these anymore. Ooh. All right, I'm going to create a new thing. To create a new design, I'm going to create a new design. You may want to make sure you are logged in. So if you see my ugly mug up there, well, my ugly mug over here, because I'm covering this one up with my other ugly mug, but this reminds me that I am indeed signed in. So sign in with your Google account. That way it'll save your work. I'm going to create a new design. And I asked my students to make a dice. So let's, on the right side, scroll down and select dice. Let's place it. Again, you can just left click and place it. To scale things, we can select an object, and then we see those little corners. I asked them to make this 30 units. So let's scale this larger. Let's largify it. So I'm going to click, and if I just start dragging, you'll notice this becomes an oblong, weird thingy. So let's hold the shift button so the ratios are preserved. And I'm going to scale this up to 30. Also, if I done flubbed it, I could just change these manually to 30. But now I have a normally sized die that is within regulations, 30 units by 30 units by 30 units. And then I asked them to put something on this dice that means something to them. So I'm going to use my last name since it happens to be 6 characters. You can use the text tool to put text on there. So my last name is Blagan. Let's just start with a B. I'm a B. I'm a B. I'm going to, certainly if I made this as a whole, because I would like it to be taken out of my dice. I would like there to be an inside bit, so the depth you can see. Ooh, that looks bad. So if you look at these, there's some depth to the letters. That's how I was able to paint the outside purple, and the inside was still white. I would like there to be depth, so I need this to be a hole. I don't want it to be that deep of a hole, because that's nearly going to cut my dice in half, or in many pieces. So let's change the height here. I'd like this to be maybe 3 units. And I'm going to align these together because I'd like this B to go on top of my dice. So I'm going to hold the shift button, click both of these, go to align, and I'm going to pick the one that'll put them on the same horizontal plane. Now all I need to do is move my B over onto my die. And that's actually looking pretty good. I'm just going to use my arrow keys to move this a little bit more precisely. And it's just a little bit too big for me. So let me scale this down just a smidgen. Again, I'm going to hold the shift button so that it preserves its ratios. It doesn't distort the B. And I'm going to go to 18 height. My B disappeared because I scaled it down and it was floating. So the problem is when I scaled it down, it went down, down, down. So let's do that again. Let's scale it 18 high. It's just 18. Not 180, 18. There we go. Okay, so I got my B. Now I'm going to need to realign it because I've changed it. So align it to the top. And let's just put this in the middle of our cube. Looks pretty good. All right, I would like this hole to be taken out of my dice. So I need to group these objects. I'm going to hold shift, click my B, click my cube, and then I'm going to group these objects. And now there is a B-shaped hole in the top of my cube. Okay, well, how do I get the next facing on my cube? Well, I just need to rotate my cube, right? So let's rotate it 90 degrees. I'm going to grab one of those rotation bits, hold the shift button, and rotate it 90 degrees. Now let's do an L. L. And I want to keep this 18 units and hold the shift button and change this to 18. And I would also like this to be 3 units tall, since that's the height I had my last one. It needs to be a hole. Let's click, holding shift on both objects, align them to the top of the cube, move it onto the cube, and then I'm going to again select both objects and group them. So now I've got an L taken out of my cube. 90 more degrees. Let's get my Ender.
May the force be with you. May the force be with you.
May the force be
And this gets a little bit more fluid as you've done it a few times, hopefully.
Me, the force is with me. The force is with me, and I am with the force, and I fear nothing. All this, as the force wills it. The force is with me. The force is with me.
The force is not a...
And now I just need to rotate a different way. So let's rotate 90 degrees this way. I'm going to come back to this alignment since I have to decide how I want my second E and my N to be aligned in terms of the rest of the cube.
The force is with me. The force is with me, and I am with the force, and I fear nothing. All this,
Rotate this back 180 degrees.
the force is with me. The force is with me.
I am no Jedi, but I know the Force. It moves through
So now I have my dice. You could also change the color if you like. That's horrifying, way too bright. I think the lighter the dice, the easier it is to see in 3D space. I'll obviously print whatever PLA I decide to print in, but if I would like to 3D print this, I can export this. Make sure you choose OBJ or STL file, at least if you're using a MakerBot, that's what I'm using. Your 3D printer may vary, but I think STL files are pretty standard. So you can even export directly to your printer if it's on the same network. Now, of course, if we wanted a dice that was, let's say, going to use a different type of an object, so let's just scale this up real sloppy-like, boop. Not super sloppy-like. Put a heart out here. Now let's shrink the heart down. Shrink down the height to 3 units. Let's align these two. You can put a heart in there too. You know, your imagination is the limit. And if you choose something like this star that has some 3D facet, you can actually have it sink down into the cube as it goes. So this is all up to you and your own creativity. Hope you guys are now able to make your own 3D dice. And if you have a printer or access to one, print it. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.